Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, another state broke their first day voting record from the previous record setting. So, I'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's talk about the early voting numbers in key swing states. So, as of late yesterday, Arizona had received almost 483,000 ballots, 36% from Democrats, 43% from Republicans, and 21% from other voters, so people who are not affiliated with either party. And the gender gap hasn't really changed since earlier this week. So 40% of the ballots have been cast by women, 46% from men, 7% didn't have a gender associated with their ballot. Georgia has received almost 1.7 million ballots. So they are I think it's now over one quarter, about one fifth, as at least as of yesterday, of all of the 2020 voting. So 46% have come from Democrats, 48% from Republicans, and 6% from others. I've had some comments about how Georgia doesn't make people register for any specific party. I am very well aware of that. These figures and party registration information is coming from NBC News. I have no idea where they're getting this from, so I'm just sharing it with you. As for the Georgia gender breakdown, 55% of the votes have been cast by women, 45% by men. So moving on to Michigan, they have received almost 1,160,000 ballots. This is by mail as of late yesterday because their in-person early voting doesn't begin until this coming Saturday. So of all of the mail-in ballots that they've received, 53% are from Democrats, 37% are from Republicans, 10% are from voters that are unaffiliated or maybe voting third party. So, and we would expect that. Democrats typically vote by mail more frequently than Republicans, so it's not unusual to see that there's such a much larger number of Democrats at this point. I am very concerned about this state, though, I must tell you, because there's a large Muslim and Arab American population in Michigan, and they are not happy with Kamala Harris and her refusal to say that she's going to handle the whole Gaza issue any better or any differently than Biden. And, honestly, I think some of these voters, they're either too checked out or maybe they were too young to remember how Trump handled things during his term, how he literally turned his terrorists on the Muslim community. And this is with his Muslim ban, his xenophobia, his fear-mongering. What he's doing to the Venezuelan people, the Haitian community, it is no different than what he did in 2016 to Muslims and Hispanic people. And yet I heard one Muslim woman in an interview the other day, and she said, "Oh, I'm withholding my vote from Harris to punish her." You guys know how I feel about Netanyahu and his slaughter of tens of thousands of innocent civilians, including children and babies. I mean, I just heard a report today. They have eyewitness accounts. They have actual video from Netanyahu's people, from his military, that are just murdering people for no reason. They are destroying everything that the Palestinian people have. They're literally just destroying their universities for no reason. Not because they think that there's terrorists in there, just to destroy them as a people. So 100% against what they're doing. Go after the terrorists, absolutely. Do to them whatever you want, as I've said before. But innocent civilians, children and babies especially, it's just sick. It is absolutely sick that we are funding that. But, again, Donald Trump is going to be worse. He has already said he wants Netanyahu to, quote unquote, finish the job. And does this woman know that? Who said she's trying to punish Kamala Harris? Does she know that Trump and Netanyahu are BFFs? I doubt it, or that Trump would be even worse for the Palestinians. I mean, he and Jared Kushner are the reason that the Palestinians were completely left out of the Abraham Accords. So anyway, The margins are just so slim in Michigan. If even a few thousand people sit at home or flip to Trump, she's going to lose that state. So I'm very concerned, and we'll see how this goes. In the meantime, the gender gap is showing promise, but again, it's early. So as of yesterday, 56% of the votes were cast by women and 44% by men. Moving on to Nevada, the turnout is still very low compared to other states. So they've received just under 248,000 votes, 38% from Democrats, 38% from Republicans, 24% from other voters. And men in that state are outpacing the women. So 43% of the ballots have come from female voters, 47% have come from males. Another 10%, as you see on your screen, unknown. As for North Carolina, they've received more than 1.3 million ballots so far, which is pretty significant considering what their state just recently went through. 35% came from Democrats, 34% from Republicans, and 31% from other voters. And 54% of the ballots have been cast by women and 45% by men. And Politico is saying enthusiasm is just off the charts. They spoke with an 82-year-old woman named Berdine Byerly. She is amazing. Byerly lost everything in this recent hurricane. Her home is gone. Almost all of her possessions are gone. Politico said that Byerly escaped with only the clothes on her back, which were covered in mud, and she had her pocketbook. But she said she was going to be sure to cast her vote. She was there the first day of early voting and cast her ballot. She's a Harris supporter. And she said that she has voted in every single election since she was 21 years old. They also spoke with some Trump supporters. Oh my, these people are so easily duped. I would say it's unbelievable, but no, I mean, they're voting for Trump, so obviously they're easily duped. These people actually believed the fake AI generated images of Trump wading into the water to save people in North Carolina. They fell for that. They thought those images are real. They told Politico, quote, "If it wasn't for Samaritan's Purse and some of these other church foundations, we wouldn't be getting the help. Our current political party that's currently running this country, one was on vacation. The other one was wherever she was campaigning. And the one person that came down, stuck his feet in the river, helped pull somebody out, was giving donations out, was Trump." Oh my God. We really need to fix our education system. I mean, first of all, every person in charge, every official has said Biden was on the phone with them the minute this happened, offered them assistance, gave them assistance, did whatever they could. Kamala Harris went over there. Donald Trump just showed up. He did not show up over there until I think it was the end of last week or the beginning of this week. And he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing but spread more lies. Oh, and then he did more than spread lies. He actually defended the man, the armed man who threatened FEMA workers and said something to the effect of, "Oh, well, people need to know what's going on. People need to know when they're not doing a good job." As if threatening people with weapons is how you let someone know they're not doing a good job. I mean, it's absolutely unreal how easily duped these people are. And I mean, to say he was giving donations, no, this cheap ass, this is a billionaire, quote unquote. This guy is a supposed billionaire, and he set up a fundraising page for the people that were impacted by these hurricanes. He didn't donate a dime of his own money. These people are absolute morons. So anyway, I'm going to move on before I get myself in trouble. But over in Pennsylvania, almost 922,000 ballots have been cast, 63% by Democrats, 28% by Republicans, and 9% by others. Of those submitted, 56% have come from female voters, 43% from men. In Wisconsin, which is the last of these swing states, as I've mentioned before, they don't allow for in-person early voting. So they have received just over 326,000 mail-in ballots. 40% have come from Democrats, 19% from Republicans, 41% from other voters, which is very interesting. In regard to gender, 55% have been submitted by women, 39% by men, and 6% unknown. And as I mentioned, another state has now broken a previous first day record. So this Monday was the first day of early voting in the state of Texas. They had record turnout. The Secretary of State says that more than 881,000 Texans voted on Monday. That's compared to just over 775,000 that cast their ballots on the first day in 2020. The Hill news outlet says they attribute this high turnout to, number one, population growth in the state. There's also been an increase in voter registration. And then they also said voter participation has grown. So they said in 2012, only 58% of Texans voted, of those, registered to vote. In 2020, it grew to 66%. So it's definitely, pushing up there. Who knows what we'll see? I don't think that Democrats have a chance of winning in the state yet, but we'll see. And then this is really interesting. The only North Texas county that didn't see an increase in first day votes over 2020 was Dallas County. Dallas County is very liberal. And CBS News said that it was due in part to an issue with their digital poll books. So they had an issue in the morning, things just weren't printing properly. They fixed it, but by that time, hours had passed. And this increased voters' wait times, they had especially long lines. Now, imagine if this had happened in a liberal state. Right? Or if this had happened in a conservative county, MAGA would be whining and crying about voter fraud, right? But Democrats, they accept, like, shit happens sometimes, right? I'll come back later. I'll come back on another day. And Democrats could easily make a case for something shady going on here because Dallas County uses the voting equipment from a company called Electronic Systems and Software. Okay, here's what's important about this. Here's why I mention it. ESS is owned by a private equity firm. They're very hush-hush. They try to keep it, we don't want to say necessarily who owns the company outright, who's involved. And their company executives and their lobbyists have heavy ties to Republican officials. And one of their executives even worked in the Trump administration for a period of time. But yeah, still, Democrats, we're not paranoid. We're not crybabies. We don't have a leader who lies to us nonstop. So, we just take it with a grain of salt. We move on. Like I said, we'll come back another time. We'll come back another day. If the shoe was on the other foot, oh my God, there would be just a complete and utter meltdown on the right. Don't hear anybody on the right complaining, right, or threatening to file a lawsuit in Dallas County. Why is that, I wonder? All right, I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.